If you've been around in business long enough, we've all had that person in the team, that one that's constantly acting as a goose, finding what's wrong in things rather than what's right, holding water cooler seminars, and basically treating the place like an adult daycare centre. Now, when they're not performing, in terms of the results, their actual output in their job, then it's a pretty easy thing to have to address. It's not so easy though, is it? When the person is actually performing. Their output's there, but their contribution to the culture is terrible. So what do you do? I remember some years ago I was working with a recruitment company with their leadership team and presenting to their leadership team, and the most experienced person, the best performer in the room, was literally acting up like a goose, and everybody was following his lead. So all of the junior and even the middle ranking recruiters that day were following and looking to him to see how to act. Now, at the end of the seminar, I spoke to the business owner and said, look, I get that he's your best performer, but you will never have a sustainable base for growth. You will never have the culture you need if you don't address that. And after some time, the decision was taken to get rid of him. And the question was not so much whether it was the right decision. It was more, well, why didn't we take that decision sooner? Yes, the business went backwards at the start, but ultimately it had the capacity to grow through a great culture. I remember listening to Stuart Maxfield. Now, Stuart was the captain of the Sydney Swans, an AFL team in Australia. Eventually they won the flag, they won the premiership, but the year before they did, they had a great group of players but didn't quite make it. They looked at why, and they decided that the core reason for this was some of their best players, as greater players as they were simply not positively contributing to their culture. So they instigated what in Australia we would call a no dickhead policy. Now, yes, that is a little bit crass, but it's pretty clear at what that means. Your culture is actually the most important thing. Get rid of those in the organisation that perhaps do perform well, but are an extraordinarily bad influence on culture. Stuart Maxfield's lesson to us that day was, that's exactly what we did. And then the next year, sure, we may not necessarily have had the best playing group, but we absolutely had the best team who would play for each other. Now, skills are important, but that cultural piece really is critical to the success of any business.